Shalom. We're preparing Parasha Ekef, and it's about the passages in Deuteronomy 7 through, I think, 10. I never read it, so I don't know what it is. But anyway, it starts with Deuteronomy 7 verse 23. And I want to talk about the passage that's in Deuteronomy chapter 8 verse 11. It's about the prosperity. It's about the promise of the restoration, entering back into the land. And in the context of last week's parasha, we talked about the restoration of the wilderness into paradise again, and that's done through the means of resisting the devil. So resisting the devil, as we discussed, is not only about protecting yourself. It's not only about not falling back into the old ways. It's about expressing light and then restoring light, or restoring paradise, one word at a time. So every time you say it is written, every time you speak the word of Yahweh over a situation, you restore paradise in your situation, within your sphere of influence and your sphere of authority. Now we all know who we are. We're the kingdoms of priests. We have access to the council of Elohim. And now we have the Torah, the sword there, Cheref, from the mountain, the authority of the mountain. And we speak Cheref with the sword against the enemy, and we push them back, and we take back ground. And as we step forward, you see the light, and you see the green, you see the desert blooming. And that's what resisting the devil is all about. Now, in the context of that, we are going to restore prosperity. Yahweh said, you'll be prosperous, you'll have beautiful homes, gold, silver, and all those things. But then he said, don't forget Yahweh, your Elohim. So as you take back and you become prosperous, do not forget Yahweh, your Elohim. There's always a little warning there. Why is that? Because things in the physical that are restored and you receive the blessings, those things are still physical, and they can pull you back into the physical if you forget the balance, or you forget about Yahweh, the hand of Yahweh who's allowing all of this, and your connection to him through obedience and obeying his word. So that's the basic premise. Now it says that you will increase. Now I looked at the word increase this morning. It's the word rabbah. Now if you just look at the word rabbah, resh bet hay, we've got hay, it's shining, it fits our description I just mentioned, bringing light into darkness. We get the bet, the house that's been restored, and we also get the resh that's been restored. Now resh or rosh can be in relation to your head, your authority. It can be in relation to the authority of the commander, the King Mashiach. It can also be the symbolism of a mountain, because when the fire came down on the heads of people, it's the same symbolism as the fire came down on Mount Cheref or Mount Sinai. So the restoration of the mountain, if we think back a couple of Torah portions back, the mountain will be raised and the city will come down, and the city is made of crystal, and it will radiate light, and there won't be any need for the sun anymore, because the fire will be on top of that mountain, and the city will radiate the glory and the light of Yahweh and the Lamb, who is King Yeshua. So that is the picture of the restoration, or the increase that will come as a result of the taking back parts of the wilderness and restoring paradise, one step at a time. Now King Mashiach did the ultimate task to do that, so he gave the authority to us to proceed and to continue with that work. And during his second coming, and specifically at the end of the 1,000 years, which will basically be his third coming, he will restore back the mountain, the city, the kingdom, and everything will be glorious and full of light. The reason I'm using the word light is because the word rabbah, the gematria of rabbah, means to become light. That's one of the meanings of rabbah. And it also has the meaning in there that's circle or cycle. and increase and to grow and basically to be transformed. It also has the wording there to be distilled, and distilled process is to purify water through putting a flame underneath, and you boil the water and you catch the steam and the condensation, and that's the pure distilled water, and the impurities are entrapped within the pot where the fire is. Now that distillation process is basically what's going to happen on the outside. Now I'm going to explain why I call it the outside. Now outside is the place outside the garden, because this word increase is found in Genesis, I think it's chapter 2 or 3. No, actually chapter 1. It's in chapter 3 as well. But anyway, it's in chapter 1 where Yahweh created on the 5th day. He created the fish and the birds. And that's where this word increase is first used. So they can increase and multiply. That's also the meaning for the word rabah. Increase and multiply birds and fish. And right after that, day 6, Yahweh created man, and then man will increase and multiply. So we get the blessing, the consequence of the blessing in relation to increase and multiply. But what we also get in the gematria of rabah is a wall or a fence, and scratching, and a place of pain, arrogance, and all of those things relates to the sin of man and the elevation of Lucifer, transferring his seed into the seed of man, into man, and then that became part of the nature of man, and then Yahweh removed them from the garden, and he fenced it with the angel at the gate, at the door. And they are now fenced outside of the garden. They can't go in, but they're also fenced within with a great wall. And that is the place of pain, where the cycles are. Now, we are currently in one of those cycles. And the scratching, let me think about the 5 foolish virgins, where they gnash and grind their teeth because of pain, because they're on the outside, which is not in the garden. So Adam and Eve experienced the same thing. They were gnashing their teeth, and they were, feeling that pain and that loss. And they are now in the process of going through the cycles of distillment, where the fire is added to purify the water in order to create the light again. And what did they lose when they sinned? They lost the glory, they lost the light, and their nakedness was exposed through the word, or with the aleph, which is light, or with the ayin, that means skin. So we need to be restored back to light. Now, if you think about that in the context of the last generation, those who will not enter the city, they will be on the outside, and they will go through cycles where they will be separated first, they will be united, and then they will multiply and increase over the 1,000-year period, and then they will be distilled and purified through that period, so that they can be turned into light again. So that is the whole idea of rabah. It's actually a process. Increase and multiplication is part of the creation process, where the end result of that is multiplication first and foremost, and then also the medium of light, to restore you back to the medium of light, to the intent of what Yahweh planned in the beginning. So those are a few thoughts I just want to leave with you. Never forget Yahweh your Elohim as you take back some land this week, and I hope you speak life, and may you have a prosperous day and prosperous week. I'll speak to you soon. Shalom.